everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for your weekly wrap-up, and this is our weekly show where we talk to all 87,000 subscribers of the channel. I want to thank all of you for your ongoing viewership. It means a lot. We're getting really close to 100,000 subscribers, and we're going to get that silver play button from YouTube in very short order, hopefully. So I want to thank you all up front just for your continued support and viewership, because this is what makes the channel grow, and I really want to thank all of you. I also want to thank our newest Patreon supporters, Brad Wittenbaum and Fred Hunt, both of whom made very generous monthly contributions to the channel. So I want to thank the two of them, and I'll talk a little bit more about what Patreon is all about and how we're going to use it here on the channel in a few minutes. So what did we do this week? Well, we looked at the iPhone SE. Me and about 7 million other YouTubers did too. So this is a great example of some of the things that don't do as well viewership-wise on my channel as other things do. So our initial viewership on the video was great. A lot of you were very interested in this product, but because there are so many people doing reviews of this, including very popular channels, I don't do very well on the search rankings. So for a lot of videos that I've been doing lately, I usually end up on the first page of search pretty high up, sometimes the top listing, because I look at things that aren't always looked at on other channels, or at least there's not a lot of other people looking at them. This is a great example of a product that is just overly saturated on the platform. So we'll see how well this video does in the long term, because it's kind of hit that initial crescendo and then it's just kind of dropped off. So we'll keep an eye on things and see how it goes. But this is just one of those examples of how I pick things on the channel to review. I had bought this for my sister, so it was something that I was going to give to her. I figured, hey, I'll do a review of it and see how it does, and I know a lot of you were interested. It's basically a iPhone 5S case with the guts of a 6S, and it performs really well for a small screen phone. And it's kind of interesting to see Apple make a new product that looks like an old product. Usually they like to, kind of rev the hardware and the overall industrial design when they have a big new product rollout. This was a good example of them not doing that. So this is the third phone now that fits into that iPhone 5 design. So rather interesting choices by Apple there. We also looked at the SteelSeries Stratus XL. This is a game controller that works with the X input standard on Windows, but is also compatible with Android. And X input on Windows means it emulates a Xbox controller, so you can use it anywhere an Xbox controller would be used. So it's a really nice controller, actually, very versatile, because it does support both platforms. And you can check out my review in the master playlist linked above and down below in the video description for more on that. We also took a look at the Seagate Ultra Slim. It's a 2 terabyte hard drive that's very small and thin, and it's only $99. It is a mechanical drive, though, so you got to be careful not to move it around too much while it's operating, but a nice hard drive, good performance, and again, you can see that review in its entirety as well. And we took a look at a Lenovo ThinkPad T460S. This is a business class laptop built almost like a tank. These are really solidly constructed computers, not the smallest in the world, but really a nice lightweight ThinkPad. These have typically been heavier than most laptops out there. This one still kind of is, because it's about 3 pounds, but it's a lot lighter than many other ThinkPads have been in the past. It feels a lot like those felt. But it is going to cost you a little bit because it has a lot of security things built in for corporate environments and has some very easy access for getting in and upgrading and changing things. The price is commensurate with what you might expect a corporate laptop to be. But what's really interesting is that this has an i5 Skylake processor, and you can get Skylake chips on very inexpensive laptops. That Dell that we looked at, that big Dell, the 7, I think it was a 15-inch, but it weighed a ton. But you can get into that for $799. It'll outperform this ThinkPad and many other computers that cost more. So if you are willing to sacrifice weight and comfort and battery life sometimes, you can really get the same performance or better by spending half the price, which is such a great time to be around these days. And those are the things I really like to focus on here on the channel. So what do we got going on in the new studio? Well, take a look. We got the ceiling grid is up. My fancy carpeting is going in on Wednesday, and I think once we get the plug molding in for all my outlets and my Ethernet stuff terminated, I will be ready to start doing stuff down there. And my philosophy is always, just crank out quality content, but get it done as efficiently as possible. So that means the second that room is ready, we'll start doing new things down there. So actually, the first things that I'm going to move down will be this table, the TriCaster, and the cameras, and get at least this little wedge set up in the room so I can keep operating down there. So what'll happen over time is it'll look a little bland to start, but I'll be moving things around and kind of tweaking the look of everything and get it nicer over time. So at first, it's not going to look all that exciting, but it will get nicer as we move along. And if I have to call somebody to help me with some design elements, I will. Just I want to get the costs finished for all the other stuff down there. But really looking good down there. I can't wait to get down there because I am living literally, said about this same thing about last week, living in a mess right now. This one area is the only neat part of the room that I am currently stationed in. So I can't wait to get my life back in order down there. And I found this very nice little app from Steve Gibson, who's the co-host of Security Now, one of my favorite security podcasts on the internet, on the Twit network. And he wrote this little app that prevents Windows 10 from getting installed on your computer. It is a one-button thing. You load it up, push the button, and it takes all the Windows 10 install files off your computer and then prevents it from downloading again, and that's it. You can then load it back up again, push the button, and then re-enable that upgrade if you want. But I know a lot of you are on Windows 7. I am on my Media Center PC downstairs, and I do not want that thing going to Windows 10 because if it does, I lose my Media Center. So I've read horror stories of people who come down in the morning one day and all of a sudden their computer is running Windows 10 and they never asked it to upgrade itself. And Microsoft, as you know, is getting more and more aggressive about this stuff. So Never 10 will make it so that you never get 10 unless you want it. So that is why I would recommend it. It is a very tiny little program, could not be easier to run. I did install it on my Media Center PC. It cleared off all the Windows 10 install files, and I'm hopefully going to be safe for a while until my HD home run DVR is complete and ready to go. So definitely check it out if you want to keep your computer on Windows 7 or 8 and don't want Windows 10 on there. So a lot of people have been writing in asking me about this Cloudready from Neverware, and this is a version of Chromium OS, which is the open source version of Chrome OS that is being targeted to run on older PCs. And they're looking at the education market, which is actually a good place for them to look at because they are charging a licensing fee to the educators of the world. And the advantage of this is that you can get Chrome OS or Chromium OS running on hardware that might be discarded or might not be enough to run Windows. And I've been trying to find an old PC in my house that can run this. I haven't yet come across one yet. And I think the best way to demonstrate it is to actually have something old to show that it does actually do what they say it will do. They do have a list of compatible PCs on their website. Just the things that I own are not among them just yet. So I'm going to keep looking and find one, and then when I get one, I will do a demonstration of it. But their minimum RAM requirement is 2 gigabytes, which is not their fault. This is Google and Chrome's OS's fault because that's the amount of RAM that it needs. So as soon as I get something that kind of fits that mold, we'll take a look. But as you all know, we look at a lot of low-end PCs on the channel, and we have seen plenty of Atom-based tablets that only run on a gigabyte of RAM and still can run Windows pretty well. So I don't know how useful this is going to be to a lot of people. I would love to be able to take out some 10-year-old computers or some 15-year-old computers and put Chrome OS on there, but that's never going to happen. But there are a number of Linux installations that do work very well on older hardware. So that's where I would steer people towards. If you've got some really old machines with a gig of RAM or 512 megs of RAM or even less than that, go out and get a low volume Linux installation. And maybe if you want to leave some recommendations down below, we'll take a look at it. Because I have probably a 10 or 15-year-old laptop in the next room. It was really nice in its day. It still works great, even running Windows XP, but I would love to see what kind of Linux installations are out there that might make it run a little bit more efficiently. So let me know down in the comments below. And our next question comes from Toto Francie, who was responding to my video on the Seagate drive we looked at, and he's wondering, isn't this the time now to just get away from these spinning drives and go to solid-state disks because the cost has come down tremendously on those solid-state drives? And I would normally say yes, and there's many areas where having that would help. But take a look at this. So to get 2 terabytes in one of those Samsung portable SSDs, you're going to need to buy 8 of these Seagate drives to match that. And in the process of spending the equivalent dollars, you get 16 terabytes worth of storage for the same money that you can get 2 terabytes on an SSD. So it really is about cost consciousness. And I think if you need storage and don't have a lot of money, a spinning drive is still going to be where it's at. Because as costs come down on SSDs and you can get more gigabytes per dollar, the same is going to be true of the spinning drives. The innovation continues there because there's still a tremendous demand for high capacity hard drives. So I think over time we'll still continue to see this moving ahead. But I do think when these 2 terabyte drives or maybe a 1 terabyte SSD gets into the $150 territory, that's when things I think will start to even out. However, as you all know, 4K video is starting to kind of come into play now, and a lot of the needs that we're going to have will continue to increase. So the desire to have more storage to carry more stuff around with us will also increase. So who knows if this game will ever end. But I think for at least the foreseeable future, we'll see a combination of spinning mechanical drives and SSDs. The big question is what will happen to the cost of mechanical drives as SSDs continue to plummet? And I think that will be the big question, because there is a lot of R&D dollars that have to go into making these tiny little drives hold as much as they do. It's really magic, actually, how it works. So we'll have to play it out and see what happens in the near future. But I think for now, if you want a lot of storage and don't want to spend a lot of money, mechanical is going to remain the way to go. And now I have some Q&A for you on wireless extenders. So I got in an Asus wireless extender the other day. It looks pretty cool. I talked about it last week. I just haven't had a chance to do my thorough review of it yet. And what they recommend you do with their extender is to set it up as a separate SSID. So you can have it act as a repeater for your router, but they want to have a separate name on the network. And many times that requires you to actually physically get to your device and switch networks when one signal gets too weak. And that's really not all that elegant. I like the idea of roaming from one access point to the other. Now, what I have been doing here in my house is setting up my both of my wireless access points, my extender and my router, with the same SSID, so that my clients just kind of roam back and forth. And on 5 gigahertz, it actually works pretty well, because 5 gigahertz signals don't typically go as far as the 2.4 gigahertz signals do. So by the time I get into the room where my extender is located, I've lost signal with my router, and it just kind of switches over automatically. But I've been noticing, though, on 2.4 gigahertz, my devices tend to hang on to that signal even when it's really weak before it gets carried over. It actually has to get completely disconnected first before it picks up the stronger one. And Asus does have a setting on their routers where I can actually disconnect clients even if they have a stronger signal. There's like a dB limit you can set. But I'm just curious what you all are doing, because it just doesn't seem elegant to have to manually connect my devices back and forth every time. And I'd like to figure out a way to inexpensively do a seamless roaming in a home, because really the only option that I'm seeing that looks seamless to me is that $500 kit that just came out. I think it's from EEE or some crazy name like that. Some people wrote in about it. And it just seems to me that there's got to be a cheaper way than spending $500 to do wireless roaming in the home. So let me know what you're doing. I'm just curious to see what other people's solutions are to that. So this week, I've got a couple of things in mind, and I wanted to first tell you about a radio appearance, actually an online radio appearance I am doing tomorrow night here in the United States, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's on a local internet radio station that is actually right around the corner from me, called ICRV Radio. I think we're talking about electric cars and some other cool stuff. So definitely tune in. Apparently they only do these things live, and there's never a recording after the fact. But I'm going to ask and see if we can get one. I'll put it up on our podcast feed if there is, because it'd be kind of fun to at least give you an on-demand option too. But I guess this is a call-in show, so if you want to call in during the broadcast, please do. So you can ask me some questions about whatever's on your mind. And also, our gold member Patreon supporter Shabib has been asking me to do a Kodi versus Plex video, and I'm going to do it, but it's not going to be one versus the other, because I actually use both of these things, and I think they have very different uses, at least for me. So I figured it would be a good time, and hopefully we'll be able to do this in our new studio space where I'll have my home theater set up down there also, to talk about what I'm doing currently for watching television in my house. Now, the truth is I don't watch a lot of TV because I'm usually up here making videos, but I do watch from time to time, and I have a pretty good system set up now that is actually working really well, and I'm basically whittling down to a single device to do all of it, which is my NVIDIA Shield TV. So I think I'm going to do that video just as soon as that carpeting and my Ethernet jacks are installed downstairs, and hopefully that will be in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. Love to hear some questions you might have on that video too ahead of time. Now, if you want to help the channel, you can go to Lon.TV/Patreon and make a monthly contribution to the channel. You can also contribute to our YouTube fan funding page, which is a one-time contribution at Lon.TV. If you do that, please email me to let me know you did it, because YouTube doesn't tell me when people make contributions to that, or at least doesn't tell me who made the contribution, so definitely let me know about that. And both of these funding sources are going to be used to pay for a part-time worker who's going to come in and help me once I get everything set up downstairs, to maybe speed up some of my production workflow, because I'd love to start doing more videos per week in a staggered basis. Don't worry, I'm not going to overload you at all, but there's so many things that I want to do that I can't do right now, so this person will really help with that, and I do plan on using the Patreon funds to help fund that person. They'll typically be high school students who are in the media program at the local high school here, so we're going to be giving them a good job, and they're going to learn some of the ropes of production in the most difficult way possible, which is having to do everything yourself. So I'm really looking forward to helping some young people get a start in the business here, so that fund will help them do that. And we have our Amazon page at Lon.TV/Amazon. This will bring you over to the bounty page for Amazon Prime. But anything you do on Amazon after clicking through that link, a portion of the sale will go to us here on the channel. And this is not going to impact your price at all. So whatever shopping you do, just a little tiny portion of that sale gets kicked over to us. And this has been actually a very good growing area of revenue for the channel. And it's a great way to passively help the channel if you're shopping on Amazon anyhow. One thing I might start doing is a weekly email about deals on Amazon, or at least maybe a weekly little video about it. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Unfortunately, it's only going to be deals for the United States only. So I just wanted to hear if that was something you all would like to see, like a little deals video once a week about some things coming up on Amazon, because it could help with some affiliate sales there. Now, if you want to connect with the channel, you can. You can go to Lon.TV/email for our email list. You'll get a word of that live stream we'll do down in the news space. Lon.TV/Facebook for our Facebook page where I post things of interest. Lon.TV/forums for our forums, and our Reddit page where I'd love for you to start posting more review ideas over there at Lon.TV/Reddit. So that will do it for this week's weekly wrap up. Please keep your questions and comments coming. We'd love to have some more Q&As for next week, so leave those down below. And anything else you want to share with me is great too. And again, I really appreciate everyone who watches the channel on a regular basis. This is Lon Seidman. Thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporter Shabib. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.